Well, our news intro always sounds very ominous, but for this video, we got some positive things to talk about.
No, we don't.
We do.
No, we don't.
It's a shocker. I'm telling you, it's a shocker.
Funko is a sinking ship. They're also Beanie Babies, and they're dying.
Believe it or not, that's not true, at least as it looks right now. But we heard the Q1 earnings call, and we have a lot of takeaways, a lot of things to discuss, and Funko has made a lot of breakthroughs. We think we figured out one of the breakthroughs. That's actually a good point to start on.
Okay.
So the shipping containers.
Yeah, so remember the end of year earnings call? How they were talking about how they had a ton of shipping containers that were filled to the brim and they didn't know where to store them or anything? Well, they figured it out.
Yeah, so they got rid of all of the shipping containers. They're all gone. They don't have to pay rent on them anymore.
Yeah.
Apparently it was super, super expensive. It was like $100,000 per day. It was something ridiculous. Like the amount of money they were spending to like house all of this product was unbelievable.
Yes, it was. But listen to this. I think I figured it out. Okay.
Well, hold on. We haven't gotten to that part yet.
Oh, we haven't? Okay, let me break the news.
Okay. So on the call, they said they were able to get away from those shipping containers. That's like no more. The question was asked, what happened? Like, how did this happen so quickly? Because they didn't expect to get rid of those containers as quickly as they did in Q1.
Was that a question on the call or was that a question we asked?
It was a question on the call.
Oh, what did they say?
And they basically said that the Arizona location had some space for them to send product. That's what they said. However, Heather was thinking this through, and she said something that makes so much sense to me that my head almost blew off because I didn't even think about this while I was listening to it. Like, I feel like I should have thought about this. I don't know why I didn't think about this. I don't know why you're so smart.
Well, I know why you didn't think about it.
Go ahead, hit me.
Because you're stupid?
I knew you were going to say that.
Okay, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to think and type out a comment and tell me the reason. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. This is where you play the Jeopardy theme.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Why? I was doing a dance to it.
I know you were. It's fine.
So now I'm doing a dance to nothing.
You call me stupid, now you're looking stupid.
Wow. Okay, well, you had more than 3 seconds. Guess what? I think that they took all of that product from those shipping containers and they threw them in the
landfill.
You didn't do it right.
Landfill.
There you go. I think that is how they freed up the shipping containers. And I'm going to investigate.
Okay, you going to Arizona?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so I think that's partially what happened, but I also think they really did move stuff to the Arizona warehouse. Like, I think they got rid of things that they knew they couldn't sell, and then whatever was like left over that they knew they could sell, they put it in the warehouse. I think it's public because we've heard this multiple times now, but the warehouse eventually is going to have a store in it. And they're going to sell a lot of excess materials
and
there.
The music venue, right? Or is that somewhere else?
Oh my God, don't bring up the music venue.
The music venue and the Mondo Art Gallery.
Okay, well, speaking of Mondo, that's another thing. Apparently that was on the decline for Q1, which makes sense because you remember what happened with Mondo. I think they basically got rid of everybody at Mondo, and now they're reformulating what they're going to do with Mondo, and now they're opening up some sort of music venue, and they're opening an art gallery or something. Like, I don't know what they're doing, but Mondo hasn't done anything since the Cocaine Bear poster.
And that was before the firings. So I think that them not doing so hot just has to do with the change, and I think that we'll see a positive change, hopefully, later this year, maybe?
Maybe.
Did they mention anything about that in the call, like when they expect Mondo to go up?
No, they didn't say anything, but I guess they're going to try to get that boosted up. Also, Funko Games was another one that took a hit, and Funko Toys, so I guess like toy figures.
They have like those articulated Five Nights at Freddy's figures.
So apparently that didn't do so well. But what they were talking about big time about how they're making all the money right now is direct-to-consumer, DTC, which we've talked about multiple times.
They're up over 60% with direct-to-consumer.
So they're killing it.
But you're missing a key part of information.
Okay.
I said that really weird.
I know.
It was like my mouth just did weird stuff.
Yeah, I know, keep going.
They're down almost 25% from selling to retail stores.
Yes, so retailers across the board, when it comes to anything, like I guess maybe, I don't know if it's just toy related or just across the board in products, retailers are cutting back.
Yes.
So they don't want as much Funko product right now as normal. And I think maybe Hasbro and like a lot of those other companies are feeling the pain, according to the phone call. So this is our first, allegedly.
Yeah, to me, in the phone call, it almost sounded like you said, the retailers don't really want all of that product. And I don't know if it has to do with like the economy right now, or if it's just like a Funko weird thing in general.
No, it sounds directly related to the economy. Yeah, so the big box retailers and even the smaller stores aren't taking as much Funko as they once did. So Funko is going direct to consumer, DTC, on their website and in other venues. And apparently the website is doing very well because it's a new website.
So they say, but I know that there are quite a few issues. Like, for example, you know how there are those Discord channels where they put up the links and stuff, and they can like count how many units per item. Apparently, a lot of bots are grabbing up these random restocks, but then if you email customer service, they'll reply and say, oh, all of those orders are getting canceled because we don't have that product in. So something's going on. I don't know if they're like testing it for bot activity or what that is about, but I've seen that through different messages we've received in our inbox. People are showing us proof of this happening.
Let's talk about some highlights, because I feel like we always get in the weeds about the really bad things that are going on. And even though that's really fun to talk about how negative everything is, and because we're a negative channel apparently, the highlights are Loungefly is doing really well. And apparently they're starting to put them into Spencer's stores, according to the call.
Interesting.
So Spencer's is carrying them, and apparently that's been going very well. Itty Bitties are a pretty big brand for Funko. They're getting into the micro or mini figure territory, and apparently it's going very well for them.
Yeah, and they're saying that that's helping them to draw in new consumers to their brand, because people like the small stuff, but they might not know who Funko is. So this could potentially bring in new customers for their products in general.
So lots of growth there apparently. And then also their warehouse is supposed to be up and running in July.
Wow.
Which is really good news, because apparently a lot of the issues stemmed from the warehouse. So now that they're getting that all worked out, hopefully this will help matters and things will get better. But the real good news is that Funko is doing well and their stocks are up. This is fantastic. And I think this Q1 phone call really boosted a lot for the company.
Yeah, you know what's really weird is last time before the earnings call, I should say, their stock dropped big time to like 7 something.
Right.
And this morning I woke up and my app was like, Funko's up to 10.10 today. And I was like, something good must have happened on that call.
So they're on the rise, because it looks like, hey, Itty Bitties are really good. Hey, Loungefly is really good. Hey, our direct-to-consumer is really good. The downside, retailer issues, but Funko's figured that all out. Now they can do direct-to-consumer. So you go on Funko Shop right now, or Funko.com, and you'll see that Hot Topic exclusives are on there, Walmart exclusives. If you're wondering why they're on there, that's exactly why. It's because these companies won't take these pops on.
But see, my issue with that is these are no longer Hot Topic exclusives or Walmart exclusives or GameStop exclusives, because they're not exclusive to just those places. And while I understand why they are doing that from a business perspective, I feel like they should be like, hey, Hot Topic, how many units do you want to order? Sign this contract. This is how many you're taking. Then they only ship Hot Topic that many rather than having the overflow. But if they can cut out Hot Topic and go direct to consumer, they can just make all the money themselves.
So a lot of people commented on one of our recent videos where we talked about this very subject, about store exclusives being on Funko.com.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to like ordering them from Funko because Funko ships a bit better than quite a few of those retailers, and their orders are less likely to get canceled.
That, and also people don't have stores nearby, or they don't like to go out and shop anymore. A lot of people are shopping online only.
Yeah.
So I understand that. If you have to go like 30 or 40 minutes away to get to a Hot Topic, and then your other option is to go on Funko.com and just buy it directly, their Hot Topic exclusive, why not? I mean, there's no problem there. Again, in my opinion, it sort of waters everything down. The special seems to be taken away a little bit. I don't know. I'm just not a really big fan of it. If you are a fan, totally respect it. Let us know in the comment section down below what you feel about all of that.
So back when con drops were a big thing, I remember Barnes & Noble would have pretty good exclusives. But our local Barnes and Noble stores, like the closest one's like 35 minutes away from us, but we would still travel that because it was so much fun hunting that down. So much more fun than just placing an order online. But again, like you said, I understand where people would prefer to shop online. I just have fond memories of doing that. You know?
Yeah, well, I think the Funko game is changing a bit. Although in the call, Funko also mentioned that they hope to see that the retailer growth happens again and they can put more in store. They're saying that they're feeding the hardcore fan as well as bringing in new consumers. I don't necessarily agree with that, although numbers are what really show it. I think with hardcore fans, we're looking for the limited pieces and things like that. But again, that will not make Funko a huge amount of money. You can't sell limited pieces for $15 and have 1,000 of them and expect to make bank. It doesn't work that way. So they have to make commons. They have to make a lot of exclusives. It all makes sense. As the Funko fan base grows, the numbers of these things will grow also. And I don't necessarily see that as an issue. It would just be nice to see them spread in some limited pieces along the way to bring out more of that fun and more, I would say, fan engagement, because people are like now online on socials talking about it. Maybe very popular Funko Pops get posted up and people are like, oh my God, this is awesome, right? That's one way of garnering attention. But if you have these limited pieces, that really blows the internet up.
The store exclusives seem to be more abundant than they were in the past. They used to be a bit harder to obtain, as well as con pops. And now it seems like con pops and store exclusives sit on the websites for much longer than they used to, which leads me to believe that there's probably more being made, almost on the same level of commons or pretty close. And I feel like if they dumb that number down a bit, still catered to fans and allowed them to get these items without them being like overproduced and going on clearance for super duper cheap, then it might help them a bit more. Even with retailers, I feel like if Funko Pops or any item really is more bound to end up on clearance, why would you buy a ton of it?
So another topic that they discussed was the 10% layoff of their workforce.
Yes.
And they said they did it with thoughtfulness. I'm not entirely sure what that means. I don't know if that means they're getting severance packages as they walk out the door.
It doesn't sound to me necessarily like they're treating them a certain way. Thoughtfulness, in my opinion, almost sounds like they gave it a lot of thought and cut people that made sense.
Okay, that makes sense then. Okay.
Possibly. I don't know. It could very well mean severance packages, but that's more money out of their pocket too.
Allegedly number two.
Yeah. So we don't know exactly what that means, but it sounds to me like they gave it thought.
Well, Funko is growing into a completely different thing. I think it's becoming sort of a different beast. We're seeing that with the amount that they're putting out. As we mentioned, the commons are more abundant. The exclusives are more abundant. There's a lot of changes happening. It's all about reaching that goal of 2.6 billion. And having to cut that workforce is what gets them closer and closer to that number.
Absolutely. And they even mentioned again about the art, like cutting back on the cost of art.
Yep.
Which leads us to believe in all of those emails we received where people were speculating that they're trying to do more work overseas, that possibly coming sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Well, that's probably already happening. I mean, I think that's how they have to be tapping into several different things in order to be fast forwarding as they are right now.
Yeah,
and a lot of people seem baffled on that call.
Yeah, well, a lot of the things that they talked about in last call, they had deadlines like way in the future from now. And they're like, oh yeah, well, you know, we're very quickly coming up on this goal, this goal, this goal. And people are like, wait a second, how are you doing it that fast?
Right. And so allegedly, it makes it feel like something weird is going on. Because how are they moving as quickly as they are? But I guess the burning of all those Funko Pops and everything, freeing up space, that helped. There's just a lot of things, moving parts that happen behind the scenes that us fans and collectors and YouTube channels just don't know about.
Yeah.
But they could be doing some shady allegedly. I don't know. I have no idea what they're doing, of course. It made me wonder why they weren't being questioned more during that earnings call.
Same. And let me tell you something. Linda was on there again. You know,
Linda's
Linda.
hardcore. Linda's hardcore.
I'm gonna call her Linda Hardass because she's a hard ass. That's her new
she's
last
tough.
name.
She's a tough cookie.
If she's not married, she needs to marry somebody with the last name of Hardass and take that name on because it belongs to her. She was soft ass Linda today.
Yeah, so Linda is the one who asks the hard-hitting questions on all these calls. I don't know who she's with. I never pay attention to that, but I recognize her voice.
Yes, me too.
She gets on there and she's hardcore.
And when her voice came on the call, I was like, oh no, it's Linda again.
Well, they were also very complimentary to her. And they were thanking her up and down, both when she came into the call and when she got off of the call, because they know that she's always on attack.
Well, I was thinking that when they were thanking her and, you know, appreciating her and everything, I was like, man, they don't mean that. They're probably rolling their eyes because
Probably.
She always hits them with like the really hard to answer questions.
Oh, yeah.
And it's almost like an interrogation with her.
I know.
I wanted to jump through the phone and say, Linda, ask them more.
Right. Well, I think that they are basically giving them an easy pass this time. Last time the call, I feel like it was longer. This one was 24 minutes.
It was the closeout of 2022.
Yeah, I mean,
It wasn't just quarter four, it was quarter four and 2022.
Right, okay, so that's probably why it was longer. But that one was like that was a nightmare. That was
it was
like
awful.
Being on the side of Big B and the other guy, it was like you were being butchered.
Yeah, and I felt bad for them, and you know how I feel about them recently, about how the moves that they're making, we don't agree with them, but I honestly felt like bad for them because we were in the hot seat.
It could have been that call or the call before. I can't remember.
I think it was both of them.
Rough. Yeah, they were rough.
Both of them.
But this new one was great, and so basically, I think it gives us a lot of hope that Funko is going in the right direction, that things are going to get better for them.
Remember when we laughed last call or whatever, where they said that Bitty Pops were going to be huge? They're doing it.
Well, they're not huge; they're small, but the output is huge.
Yeah. Oh, another weird thing that they said. You remember when the Super Bowl happened? Was it the Chief that won the Super Bowl?
Oh, yes, yeah.
They put out the 4-pack or 5-pack of the Funko Golds for like, what was it, $200?
It was something like that, yeah.
They said that they're making hand over fist with those, and their relationship with Fanatics.
Oh, that was the other thing we didn't talk about.
Is going great.
Fanatics is apparently like a sports brand.
Yeah, it's a sports website.
So they're dealing with them, and apparently that's going really well. I know that Funko is dealing with eBay and doing all sorts of stuff with eBay, but they didn't mention any of that on the call. I figured they would highlight that a little bit more, but there was a no-go there. I would say this call was pretty positive across the board, other than Mondo taking a hit. But we know why. We know what happened with that. If you don't know what we're talking about, if you watch our past videos, Mondo has gone through a real rough patch. And in fact, I don't even know what it is anymore. I think it's a skeleton of its old self. And a lot of people were pretty upset about what's going on with Mondo, including Elijah Wood, you know, Frodo from Lord of the Rings. He actually spoke out about it on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, he was pissed.
Yeah, so I'm just happy to report that this breaking news video is a good one, and we can finally talk about good things, although there has been sort of a rough past with Funko, and a lot of you guys out there still agree that Funko is not doing well. And I will say this, I was at Hot Topic a couple of days ago, and when I was at Hot Topic, it was not pretty in there. Although this is a Hot Topic inside of a mall that's sort of dying off.
Yeah.
So maybe there's not a whole lot of foot traffic, but there were a lot of Funko Pops in there, and there was a lot of Pops in the back that were marked down.
Newer Pops on clearance.
Seeing Funko Pops marked down, that's never a good thing. You want people to come in there and buy everything up and see all that foot traffic, see stuff sell out on HotTopic.com, Funko.com. You don't see much of that anymore. So I think what we're at now is that, you know, before it was this trajectory of people who are collecting and they're fiending after it. And they need the next drop, and we're constantly looking at Funko.com, so on and so forth. And now it's become just people casually buying these things, but you have more people casually buying these things. I think that's where we're at now. They also mentioned Pop Yourself. So Pop Yourself is huge, and apparently their flagship stores, the one in Washington State and in California, Hollywood, apparently those stores are doing really well, but the Pop Yourself is huge.
Yeah, it's their biggest seller at both stores. In case you missed the news, they are bringing it online. I am a bit weary about that because of their quality control, with the stickers being weird.
A little concerned.
And them mixing up orders and things, but that's human error. I mean, that's bound to happen no matter where you shop, and I feel like it's not so often that you see, I ordered this, but I got this instead. You're more often to see some damage. Outside of that, the Pop Yourself sounds really, really awesome, even though I'm a little concerned about how they're gonna put the pieces together. Because if you don't know, the Pop Yourselves, you literally choose the head, the body, the clothing, the accessories and stuff, and you can make your own pop or a pop for a friend. I think it's great, and you can even get their name printed on the box and everything. The coolest part about that is that they said that they're gonna come out with seasonal accessories. So my question is, for Halloween, are they gonna maybe have costumes or at least a trick-or-treat bag?
That's what I'm thinking.
For Christmas, do they have reindeer ears?
I think this is going to explode. I think Pop Yourself is going to be huge. I think it's going to be huge culturally.
You know how they mentioned that they're drawing in people through the Bitty Pops?
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to draw in a lot of people through the Pop Yourselves, because people will, Funko fans, like me and you, will see this. We will purchase these for gifts for people, and then those people might seek out more Funko Pops.
So that's exactly what they talked about. So they basically said that it's sort of a gift giving sort of thing, and that's what they're getting more involved with, is the whole gift giving. So people going on Funko.com and making their husband or wife, giving it as a gift, or kids, whatever, you're going to have the opportunity to do that. And when I said that it's going to change things culturally, I think this is going to be huge. I think it's going to be a big newsmaker. I think a lot of people will be talking about it, because I don't know any other toy brand that's doing anything like this. The only thing that I know that's similar to this is Hasbro does, I believe it's some of their Star Wars figures, maybe Marvel. They are actually doing 3D prints of people's faces and putting them on heads, so you can put them in the figures.
Interesting. We've seen stuff like that at conventions.
We have. So now it's being implemented at Hasbro, which is really cool. But the Pop Yourself, in my opinion, is far different, because you're customizing practically the entire thing.
Yeah, and a big trend that I've been seeing a lot more of throughout the years, we did it at our wedding. We made custom pops of ourselves for our centerpieces. We just did head swaps for those, but we actually sculpted a custom me and a custom you for our dessert table. I feel like people will actually purchase these with that in mind, because customs on Etsy or in Facebook groups or whatever, they're probably much more expensive than for you to go and pop yourself on Funko.com.
Absolutely, yeah. So they'll be able to take over that. It'll, for wedding pops,
They need
birthday.
to have wedding attire, because that would blow up.
It'll kill. And I'm sure they're thinking about that. By the way, hold on. If you aren't thinking about that, Funko, you heard it here first. So Funko, if you take that idea, that's a freebie. We're giving that to you.
Just make sure you send us a certificate so we can put it on our wall of what we've changed at Funko.
Yeah, I think we need a certificate for that.
No big deal.
Yeah, just send us a certificate. That would be great. So that's all very good news, right? I mean, for the most part, I think we told you a bunch of good news, other than the fact that they're saying they got rid of a bunch of Funko Pops out of those containers. We're thinking a lot of that went to destruction. It just makes sense, because you cannot get rid of that much product, and I can't imagine they would have enough space. If they had that much space at the warehouse...
Why wouldn't they do it sooner?
Exactly.
Yeah, they didn't just find that space. It wasn't in some dark corner that they had no idea of. They know what the warehouse held, what space was free, and obviously there was a reason they didn't move it there sooner.
That was a lot of news, but I'm glad that we're able to bring good news to the channel finally, after trashing everything.
Thank goodness.
We're able every once in a while to bring some good news. By the way, Brian Mariotti still sounds like a robot on the calls.
He's reading things that were written up for him
It's
or that
fine.
he wrote.
It's fine. He just sounds like an android, but it's fine. I'm just saying, if you're going to have me critique anything, I'm critiquing that. Very happy to hear about Loungefly bags doing really well. Very happy to hear about the Pop Yourself stuff. And also, Bitty Pop's doing well is great too. We want to know what your thoughts and more are in the comment section down below.
And what are you most excited for about the future of Funko? What are you most optimistic about? And what are you feeling pessimistic about? Because I feel like we all have both happy and sad feelings about all this. In every video, we like to shout out to some of our amazing patrons from Patreon, and I just want to say thank you. Your support means the world to us. In this video, we would like to shout out to
Rulies, Chris Restivo, Jimmy Tauber, Brian Dill, Dirty Deuce, Marshall Owens, Run the Canoes, Chavo, Chris Zazaski, Hassan E., and Justin and Stacey McKenzie. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. We appreciate all of our patrons. You guys rock. Thank you so much for staying until the very end of the video. We really appreciate you. And remember to check out 7bucksapop.com. They have the best pop protection. You can buy yourself some Pop Shield armors. They are amazing, and they have magnetic lids, which makes them the best. Check them out at 7bucksapop.com. All right, it's that time again. Remember, as always, we're hard together, yes. We'll catch you next time.
bye.